You're tuned in to 7R Jax Podcast, your source of information for the music and entertainment industry that's happening in your world today. We're out here in Jacksonville, Florida, brought to you by 7R Jax and Podcast Studio Suites. And today, this show is also brought to you by K1's K-Pop Sessions, and I am yours truly, K1SPL.
Woo!
How's everyone doing? In the previous episodes of 7R Podcast, we had King Wade Fu's brother, Young Cash, who has a label with T-Pain, and he spoke to us about the good old times of him coming up in the game right here in Jacksonville. Last podcast, we had the one and only Dancing with Ghosts, Joshua Cannon and Stephanie Connor, who came on and shared their experiences with their project duo as both single-handedly or dual-handedly self-produce all of their own content. So as you know, me, K1SPL, I specialize in K-pop, and in the previous episodes, we kind of sort of hinted on K-pop, but we never actually got to talk deeply about it. So today, I invited a very special guest to help me discuss the topic. I'll read right from her Spotify profile here. She is a recording artist for Melting Pop Records, a record label based in Los Angeles, California. She currently resides in Jacksonville, Florida, and is part of the pop group Status Quo. Her work is inspired by many, including Korean R&B artists such as Crush and Dean, as well as American artists Alicia Keys and Whitney Houston. She is aspiring to be one of the first Asian American R&B and pop singers to hit mainstream in the US. She's about to serenade our ears with her debut solo single song. Ladies and gentlemen, you have Alexis of Status Quo with her song, Halfway.
Found. I wanna bring you close, baby, but you're not around. Counting all the days down till you're here by my side. But I'ma keep moving so I can meet you halfway. Time, even when I pay no mind. I'm wishing you were here now. I know we'll make it in time. They said patience is a virtue. Oh baby, I've tried and true. So I'ma keep moving on. So can you meet me halfway? I want you here tonight, and I won't let this stop or slow us down. 'Cause even though we're miles apart, I know you'll come and take me away. Baby, don't you know that I can meet you halfway? So meet me halfway. All the time, do I ever cross your mind? I know if you were by my side, we'd be alright. I'll wait here till that day comes desire, baby, because I know, and I will meet you halfway. Thank you. Had to wait for that piano.
So we had Alexis with her single debut song, Halfway.
Yeah.
So here we are, 7R Jax, and we're here with Alexis. How are you today?
I'm
How's it going?
so splendid.
It's so good to have you here. So how have you been doing the recent days? Like, what have you been up to?
Well, it is definitely the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of planning, and like things are moving pretty slow in terms of like how things are just moving in general, because it's a lot of waiting and then being patient and stuff like that. But
Definitely
it's also
patience.
moving really fast in the sense of it feels like a whirlwind,
Mm-hmm.
and like everything is just like washing up on me, and like it's a little overwhelming, but I mean, that's the beginning of the year.
Exactly. We're only 3 weeks into January. So.
Yeah.
And then by the time you know, it's probably going to be like summer or fall.
Right.
But yeah, I think we're all prepared. So
Yeah.
what made me want to invite you today was I saw your YouTube video where you're talking about your endeavors right on
Oh,
YouTube.
yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask Alexis if I can have her on the
Yeah.
7R podcast, because these podcasts are actually very new to us too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying our hand here at 7R to get the word out for artists out here in
Yeah.
Jacksonville and stuff.
It's
and then,
really cool. Yeah.
Just cover the area, you know. Put us on the spot, you know.
Right, yeah.
So
It's my first time ever being asked to do a podcast too.
Really,
So like,
I feel honored now.
yeah, no, it's really exciting for me. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, cool. So yeah, first off here, do you have any shout outs you want to shout some people out on your channel or
Sure.
through Facebook?
yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to shout out to my parents for giving birth to me, I guess.
That's very important.
And for always for supporting me. Like they were very, very adamant when I was young to be a performer, and being the rebellious child I wasn't very easy to raise. So thanks. And then shout out to the rest of my family, obviously, and then my fans too. Thank you guys. Like, we're very few and like very spread apart, but like they're very, very strong fan base. So I'm really happy that I have them. So thank you guys. Then shout out to Alex of Melting Pop for having me sign on to the label, and Parker for producing Halfway. So yeah.
Alex and Parker, shout out. So
Yeah.
I want to shout out a few people too. Of course, I guess I'll shout out my parents too. I have to go. You know them, Filipino
Yeah.
parents. You gotta shout them out. It's like, why didn't you not shout us out on the show? So yeah, you gotta cover them. I want to shout out a couple of guys from my YouTube channel, K1's K-pop Sessions. My homies, Luminous, who has put me on so much stuff, brought so much knowledge to me about the K-pop scene, even though I've been so like stubborn in a way, gathering the knowledge, but he's been like hammering my head with all the knowledge. And so Luminous out there, and also my buddy Yodi out in the Netherlands. So just biggest shout outs to Yodi. He's been supporting me on the channel. He always just comments there, and then giving all sorts of recommendations like, hey, check out this dude here, Kim Donghan and Baekhyun, and all them artists that like people don't really cover. So like he gives me some recommends, and I appreciate those two. Luminous, which I have no idea where he's from. He won't. He's very disclosed, but he's really cool. And then Yodi. So, all right. So moving on here. So tell us a little bit about you. Like, how did you get into singing, dancing, and one thing I did want to cover, like choreography. So on, as you know, we're on Facebook. That's how I found you.
Yeah.
Through the K-pop Minions of Jacksonville. You put out like this little flyer that said like you're holding a recital for K-pop inspired choreographies. I was like, you know what, I gotta come here. And then that's when I first met you. And if you go back to my episode in K1's K-pop Sessions, we actually had a little interview there. And then So yeah, going into that, like, tell us more about you now that we're on this podcast, like how you got into everything, how everything led up to this point in time or point in life.
Yeah, well, I started out singing, like, I can't even really put a day when I started singing, just because I always just have been singing. My mom will tell everybody that I've been singing before I could talk. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, even before I could read. Yeah, because, like, we used to listen a lot to, like, Celine Dion and stuff like that. So, like, when she was playing the music for me and we were doing karaoke, I sang the song based off of how I heard it, not because I can read the words on the screen. So, like, yeah. And then my first recording of that song, My Heart Will Go On, was when I was like 5. So it was like, it's been a long time since I'd sung. And then I went to school to Florida School of the Arts in Palatka, and that's where I got my degree in musical theater. So when I started college, that was when I actually started getting like training for singing, because I was very involved in like chorus and stuff like that, like forever. And then with dancing, I started dancing when I was in like 6th grade, and it was because my sister was actually dancing first. Like when I saw her first recital was when I was like, oh my God, like I want to do that too. Because they did a tap dance that was very stomp inspired. So they used like trash cans and stuff like that. And it was tap dance. Yeah. So it was really cool. And I was like, I want to do that. So
I saw that part of your recital there. And you took part of that too. That was really awesome. The guest that I had that day, her daughter is very K-pop inspired too. She does like cover dances and stuff. So I brought him along to the recital to go check out. But her mom, which is also my coworker, she has this eye for talent. And then every time she saw you, she was like, that girl has so much energy. Like, she kept saying that throughout the whole recital. I'm like, yeah, that's Alexis.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my gosh, she's very, like,
I wasn't really supposed to be at performing at the recital, but one of my students, her mom is in the military, so it just was one of those things where she was scheduled to go visit her mom, so she couldn't come to the recital. And then at that point, it was already too late to kind of restage everything, because they'd been competing it all season, all year. So then they were like, Miss Alexis, just take her spot. And I was like, I see. So
you're like, let's do this.
It's like, I know it, so yeah, why not? And then, so I was also part of a tap dance company for like a long time called Noise Complaint. They do a lot of cons and stuff like that, and it's cosplay tap dance. So
what?
Yeah,
that is also. I'm gonna have to look that up later.
We did, and they still do a lot of cosplay and stuff like that while they're tap dancing. Like, that's their thing. So
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm not part of the group anymore, but that's where like my tap experience came from. So I'm like, that's where I really like blossomed as a tap dancer. So, but then in terms of like dance teaching and stuff, it was while I was in college. I started teaching then, and then I was assisting at my old studio before, but then I had my own classes when I started college, and I just was teaching from then on, and then my choreography was also, growing as well. And K-pop actually helped a lot in terms of bringing it to the next level. So, yeah.
That is awesome. So, speaking of I guess you have like a studio where you do teach your classes and stuff. Do you want to cover like where people can come to check you out or join your classes?
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so it is Asbury Arts Center, also called North Florida Dance Center. It's in Green Cove Springs.
Oh, you teach right there?
Yeah, I teach right there.
So right where the recital was. Okay.
Yeah, and then right across from the Winn-Dixie, there's like a little plaza, and we're in that plaza. So yeah, we teach all kinds of things there. It's not just dance either. We teach tumbling, and we also have music classes. Awesome. So I teach voice there as well. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So next part we'll get into is so you're a part of a show that happened out in LA. It was called The Vote, and I've been trying to research this on YouTube the whole time. I can't find any like videos on it, but there's that one video where like it shortly explains what the show was about and introduces all the members that did win. But that's all that I could see. I could find on YouTube and the internet.
That's partially my fault, because I'm supposed to be I've already started, but it takes a long time to edit all of it.
I can relate to that.
So
I'm an editor myself.
I'm supposed to be editing it all, and then they're gonna re-upload all the episodes and stuff like that.
Really?
So
Okay. Cool.
so it'll be on YouTube fairly soon. But it's been a long time.
Don't blame yourself, and we don't blame you. I mean, now that we know, we could not.
Yeah, like
No,
we'll
we won't
go for it.
Everyone, it was Alexis's fault for it. Took it out.
I know.
No,
Blame
just
me.
joking. But just tell us about like what that was about and like your experiences and like your fond memories and stuff when doing the show.
Yeah. As far as I know, like when I first saw the ad for it, because I actually saw the ad on Instagram, because I follow Jun Kurian on Instagram, and he was actually going to be a guest judge for it. And he was like, oh, for those of you guys that like K-pop and like, you know, can sing, dance, and whatever, like join this contest, send in your video submission. And at that point in my life when that ad came up, I was kind of in a rut because I had just I went through a really tough time, and then at that point I didn't really, it was one of those experiences where I kind of lost myself and I was trying to figure out who I was again kind of thing, and so I was kind of stuck, didn't know where to go. And then when I saw that, I was like, you know what, like what's it gonna do? Like at that point I only had like 3 or 4 videos on my YouTube ad or something, so it was like very fresh for me to get back into singing.
It's almost like the universe aligned it that way for you.
And it was weird because before that ad even showed up, I was talking to Lorna, one of my Team Alexis people. She's actually in the room right now. But I was telling her, and I was like, dang, like, I feel like I need to go take a trip over to Asia to just, you know, audition and like make a life over there, because like I feel like I don't know where to go here, like, you know what I mean? So we had actually planned to go over to the Philippines and to Korea and stuff like that to audition and whatnot, but then the ad came up and it literally said on the ad, like, you don't have to go overseas to make it here. And I was like, oh my God, somebody's listening to me.
This is a calling.
It was weird. So like that within itself, because like in a way I'm kind of superstitious too. So like I believe that things do happen for a reason and like stuff like that. So
absolutely.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, like I can't not do this now. Like I have to. So then I sent in my submission, and it was one of those things where everybody that submitted a video, everybody had to vote, like, for their favorite contestant and whatnot. And I think voting had lasted like a week or something like that. And then after that, I got the email saying that I was chosen, and then I flew over and I went and did it. So, yeah.
That is awesome. So how many contestants were there all in all that actually made it through? First you had to do submissions where you put in your videos and then they accept you. So how many of those people did actually got accepted to fly out to LA?
Well, there were 3 categories, and it was singing, dancing, and rapping. And then as far as I remember, like it's been so long at this point, but so much has happened. But I'm pretty sure that she had aimed for 5 people per category. And then there were some things that happened where like some people dropped out. So then she chose like other people from like the next people that had the most votes kind of thing. So, and I think we had like an extra rapper and an extra dancer or something like that. So it was like about that many people. Yeah.
I gotcha. Cool.
So, yeah.
So were there any like fond memories? Maybe like any like members like butted heads or anything, or was it all like a friendly competition?
It was actually friendly. Yeah.
Okay.
Like very friendly. In all honesty, like I'm really awkward in general, like as a person. So like when I meet new people, I tend to be very like, you know, held back and everything. And then obviously once you get to know me, like it's so weird, but
you start to
right. Like I start to open up, like, and it's sometimes it's a lot, but I was very reserved when I first started, and then I didn't really start getting out of my shell until about like 2 weeks into like the month's competition. So because I stayed over at my mom's friend's house in K-Town. Shout out to Tita Arlene for housing me that time.
Tita Arlene, salamat.
Yeah. So I was with her for a good chunk of it, and then everybody else was in an Airbnb together. So, because everybody came from different places, and I think there were only like a handful of people that were from California or like near the area. So then they were, you know, they just commuted basically, and so. About 2.5 weeks in or 2 weeks in, like I started like going back and forth between staying at the Airbnb and then staying at Tita Arlene's. So that's when I really started like, you know, getting really close to everybody. But everybody was really nice. It was one of those things where we all became a pretty big family by the end of it. And I still talk to a lot of them on social media and stuff, and we still keep up with each other's endeavors and whatnot. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So next up, we want to talk about this right here. I actually picked this up.
Oh, yes.
So you, so Status Quo actually had, I thought I took the plastic off of this. Sorry. So Status Quo actually came out with a mini album called Flourishing, and this is it right here. If you want to get a shot of that, go ahead.
Ding-ding-ding.
So Flourishing, so let's talk about Status Quo. So the members of Status Quo actually live in all sorts of different parts of the nation. Like, how does that work out for you guys? Like,
Well,
like keeping up with
luckily, the internet is a very beautiful thing. It can be a very beautiful thing. So it's been surprisingly a lot easier to actually, you know, find, like, there's a specific place where we all talk to each other, and it's on a thing called Slack. I don't know if you know it. It's like a communication website.
You said Slack?
Yeah, Slack.
Oh, somebody recommended me to join or buy some stocks from them one time.
Yeah, no.
That's all I know about Slack.
Yeah, they're really, really great. So that's a place where we know if we needed to contact each other, that is the place that we go to is Slack. So let's see. I think the only people that are on our coast is me and Motway. Motway lives in Maine.
Motway.
Yeah, Motway lives in Maine. Mina and Tony both live in Nevada. And then Sandy is the only Californian. She lives in Sacramento.
She was one of the ones that had the luxury of just walking to the competition.
Yeah, well, no, it was still far from her because our competition was in LA and Sacramento was, I think, like 6 hours away. So she still had to drive, but she drove rather than, like, you know, spending like $500 on a plane ticket. So
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, the way that we do it mostly is that we write pretty much our own songs for the group, and then we put it into the Slack and go, hey, I need feedback. This is what I have for the song and stuff like that. And then we give each other feedback, and then we fix it ourselves, basically. And then by the time we finish our rough draft and everybody pretty much agreed on the sound and whatnot, that's when we send it over to Parker. And he's the one that produces and mix and masters it. So
that is awesome. So I had you write down some notes here, so I'm just going to go down the list.
Okay.
So it says, what is your role in the group here?
I'm actually the lead vocalist.
Lead vocalist. Awesome.
Of that one. So, yeah.
All right. You
Yeah, I
definitely
actually
had the vocals for that.
Thank you. It was really funny because, like, the group and I never really spoke about what our roles were. Like, you know, we kind of just showed up, did our thing, and then went home kind of deal. And I didn't know, like, what our roles were until they started sending out our EPKs, our electronic press kits, and she was like, yeah, go check it out. And then so I looked at it, and it was like, LXS is the lead vocalist. And I was like, oh, I am. I was like, oh, okay.
I thought you were going to say you're the leader. Because,
no.
But yeah, as you know, like K-pop groups, and well, I mean, we're going to get into K-pop in just a little bit, maybe after the halftime. But K-pop, if you ever go on to, like, what website do you use to, like, look up K-pop artists, if you do that?
I whatever comes up first. Usually it's
the purple one, right?
Yeah, the purple one.
So K-Profiles is
Yeah,
actually the one I always go to, too. And recently I contacted them because I noticed there were some artists that needed to be added in there. And then I was like, hey, can you guys add this artist here? And they're like, oh, and then I was even like, can I just do it myself? And they're like, oh, sure, here's the password and everything. I'm like, what?
Whoa.
Okay. So I guess I'm
a big
officially,
website too. Like, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, so I'm officially an editor for K-Profiles. I
That's
can just go
cool.
on there, and if I see mistakes, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna fix that. And then So yeah, K-Profiles. So if you go on K-Profiles, it goes through all the artists, and it gives like their positions and stuff. So I guess that's like something really big that fans pay attention to in K-pop is like, oh, what's their position? Oh, main dancer. You got the lead dancer. So the main ones are like lead dancer, lead vocalist, main vocalist, and then you got maknae, which is the
baby.
The baby of the group. Yeah.
And then they have the visuals too and stuff. So.
Yeah, these weird roles. So I was trying to apply the same thing from the K-pop world into status quo. So I guess like what I came up with was like Sandy and Maue. They're like the main rappers of the group. And
it's Mina and Moe that are the main rappers.
I'm sorry. Mina and Moe are the main rappers. Sandy and Tony are like the main vocalist, and then I named you the leader because you're so versatile. You got like so much dance energy. Your voice is amazing. So
thank you.
Named you the leader of the group. Wow. So that was my lineup for Status Quo.
Okay, yeah.
But I never heard you rap. Can you rap too, or are you working on rap verses?
Okay, I'm literally gonna reference what Jackson said to RM when they did a thing together. I'm a person who can rap, but I'm not a rapper.
It seems like that's what's going on in K-pop nowadays.
Yeah,
too. It's like one of the fundamentals of becoming an artist, K-pop artist.
Yeah, like I'm not very good at it. I can definitely sub if anybody needed me to sub. So like I can do that, but I don't write my own raps, which I think is essential to be a rapper, is that you write your own raps and then like really, make your own flow and stuff like that. But I can copy and I can, do somebody else's words, but I can't make my own. So
it's kind of hard too.
It is. It's very hard. Like I really wish that I could, because like I feel like the persona of rapping is just like of being a rapper is like so fun, and like I wish that I could be a rapper, but I can't. So I'll just stick to singing.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But we actually never really spoke about who would be the leader of Status Quo, just because all of us have such strong personalities, and like I guess that's what comes out of a competition too, is that like everybody is like, we were all very individual people that were put together as a group. So we never really thought about like who would be the leader, just because everybody's so outspoken and we do say what we think. So it's kind of like KARD. Like when you look at KARD's profiles, like they never say who's the leader and stuff like
really?
that.
I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, they never say. Yeah, they never say who it is, and then like some people do, like they take guesses and stuff like that, where they're like, oh, it's Jiwoo because she was the rapper of that one group that she used to be part of, and then people are like, no, it's BM because he has such a strong personality, and it's like, it's completely like, but nobody really knows who the leader is in that group, so we're kind of the same way.
That's awesome. It's cool that you mentioned like individualistic persona. I can't think of the word, but like in Korea and throughout K-pop, it's like in Asia, the main cultural lack of words, but in Korea and like Japan, they're like a collectivist culture. So they come together to form. They come together so that they can attain a job or something. Like if there's something that they want to acquire, they all come together and work together and stuff.
Which is really cool.
In America, of course, it's the complete opposite, because we're very individualistic. So if we come together, we're like, hey, it should be done this way, and then no, it should be this way, or like we all have our own ways, and we come together with our own like flavor, we come to the table and say, hey, we should do this. Oh, okay. And then, we should add this on, and blah, blah, blah. But of course, like comparing like Asia against like America, it's like, like example, Asia is like, oh, this should be done. It's like, okay, let's do it. They all come together. But in America, it's different, like individualistic culture and stuff. So
and that's pretty much why Melting Pop named themselves the Melting Pop Records, was because they were wanting different people from different cultures to bring something to the table.
And it shows through the group.
Yeah, like all of us are from completely like different backgrounds, different ethnicities and stuff, and it's like, but we're all doing the same thing with the same message. So
that's what excites me about the group. And I just really hope that you guys can pop off and just get out there.
Thank you.
So cool. So, all right. So we're hitting the midway mark. So we're gonna just take a short break. We're gonna check like the cameras and stuff.
Sounds good.
We'll take a short break. We'll be right back here with Alexis of Status Quo.
Yay! I can drink my Yoo-hoo.
Yes. Get to Yoo-hoo. Okay. Yeah. So you ready?
Ooh, yeah. I'm so ready.
All right, guys and gals, welcome back to 7R Jax podcast with Alexis of Status Quo.
I can't hear anything.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, I hear.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Guys and gals, we are back with 7R Jax podcast, and we are here with Alexis of Status Quo. So we're going to jump into... I think I missed a couple more questions here about Status Quo, so we'll cover that really quick. It says, what are the challenges you and the group face working remotely? Maybe you discuss that a little bit. And then new songs and plans for Status Quo. And again, if it's against Melting Pot Records, like for you to disclose anything, like they'll probably like come at you and be like, why did she promote that already? So I don't want to... for
I'll
full disclosures, just say whatever you can.
For
respects to Melting Pot, Melting Pot Records.
In terms of like our challenges that we face is literally like within the sentence. It's that we're all remote, and like I know that like I personally am a very self-motivated person, so like I do personally like. I'm okay with working and putting out content and stuff like that, like without somebody nagging me and stuff like that. I will like other than that, like it's pretty okay. I mean, it's literally just like a group project. Like that's in terms of challenges, it's literally that we can't hound each other if we need to, and then like that's pretty much it. And then obviously like the pricing, like we're a small company, so we don't have lots of budget, and it's expensive to fly out Miyamoto, so it's like that's really it.
So along with 2020 comes the challenges, but I mean that's what it's all about, is overcoming the challenges. So we'll get into that next here, the 2020 endeavors for you. So so at the beginning of this show, we heard your debut song, Halfway. So tell us more about that song, and then like if you have any more plans for more singles, or maybe if you're gonna come out with an album, or let's talk about more about that.
Halfway is, I wrote it with the intention of it being spoken about a long distance relationship, but it can also be interpreted completely differently, like, you know what I mean? Like, it could just mean that you're striving for something, and then just in general, the idea is that the best things do take time, and then like you really do have to be patient about certain things if you want it to be really good or for it to blossom the way that it should. Like I've gone through, especially like wanting to be an emerging artist and stuff like that, like it's a lot of waiting sometimes, and like I get so excited to do things, so like I tend to rush things a lot of the time, just because like I do want to just do them, and then like if I have the means to, like, why not, you know? Right. But then it's also difficult too when you are working literally with other humans. Like, it doesn't matter if it's your boss or like your coworkers or anything like that. Like, it's another person, and you can't control other people, so sometimes you just have to wait. And that's pretty much what the song is about, is just waiting for something that's really good, that you know is gonna be good at the end, but not right now, just gotta wait. So
gotcha.
Yeah. And then
is it also a song for your fellow members, like, because they're so far away, you just like encourage them, like, oh, you know, I'm still thinking about you guys, but you know, we could still meet halfway,
definitely, for sure. And like the thing is too, like, I came with the intention of writing Halfway for the thought of compromise too. Like, that's what it means when you meet somebody halfway. It's because you have an idea, they have an idea, and you meet each other in the middle. And like I'm a firm believer that something that will that's really good in relationships in general, whether or not it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a friendship, or, you know, even my relationship with my students. Like, even though I'm the teacher, I do listen to what they say, because they have specific needs as well, and then we come to a compromise to, you know, let them still feel like they're being heard, and then you know, we just work around the differences and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure, like, we do a lot of compromising with the group and stuff, so
very cool. And I got something to add to that too. I always had this saying, it goes and I always forget it too, the way I interpret it, but it's what I say is, and this is to encourage like people that's going through like tough times and stuff, you know. And the saying is, it's when things go your way when you have to worry the most.
Yeah.
Because when it is going your way, I mean, it's fine, but at the same time, like when it is going your way, you want it to keep going that way, you know.
Right.
But when things start to happen and then it doesn't, it falls apart. You just got to be really prepared for that. So even if it doesn't go your way, I find that just to encourage people is, so it's when things go your way when you have to worry the most. So if it doesn't go your way, maybe it could be like a blessing in disguise kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then you hear different perspectives and stuff. And the best things, even when, you know, like that's the reason why we send our kids to dance competitions too, is so that they can get another eye looking at it and then see what mistakes they're making and whatnot, and from somebody that's completely different, not just your dance teacher, because at that point it's like your parents, you know, like your parents will tell you something and it could be right, and they're gonna keep telling you, but you're just like, oh, you're just saying that, mom. It gets that way with dance teaching too. Like sometimes the kids don't listen to me anymore because I'm just their teacher, and then they have to go to competition and then lose some points for them to know that, you know, like, oh, your teacher was right.
Yeah, so definitely that my saying applies.
Yeah.
So, but let's get into social media content and ideas. So new social media and content. So what do you got going? So I know we all know that you have a YouTube channel. You have your Facebook.
Right.
So what else do you want to get into? Do you want to get into, do you know what the symbol is? So you do right off the bat.
Oh my gosh. I feel
have you ever streamed before?
I haven't streamed before. Like, I mean,
other than this?
Yeah, other than this. And then like, sometimes on Instagram, I'll go live as well. And then like, I used to actually, while I was doing the vote and like trying to get votes and stuff like that, I used to actually go on Instagram Live a lot, and we would literally play games on there. Like we would play Hangman, or we would play MASH, which was really fun, and like we would just hang out at the live. And like that's something that I do want to start doing as well, just for not regularly, but like, you know, if we're waiting for a drop or something like that, or something exciting is happening. Like I was thinking about opening a live to just hang out with everybody. But I don't know, I always feel kind of a little shy from Twitch, just because like I know that's where we live streamed the vote and stuff like that, but like most of the people that I know, like they're all gamers that are on Twitch, and I'm literally like, okay, but who's really gonna watch somebody just like sit here and talk? But ironically, here we are on a podcast. But
but are you so Twitch is actually, it used to start out like all gamers and live streaming, but did you know Twitch actually branched out to like, now there's people doing like, you know, all the cosplayers and stuff, they'll get on, they have their own Twitch channels, and they'll do like arts and crafts and stuff, or even like somebody building a new computer, or you got
so cool.
You got Twitch streamers out in Japan and Korea just doing like travel. So Twitch can do like travel. Like they've expanded so much in the past 5 years that I've been into it.
Yeah.
So, and then another one of the big things is like music artists will get on there, and then they'll expand their fandom through that, and then they'll sing for like in front of Twitch and stuff. So
you hear that, Team Alexis? We might actually start a Twitch channel.
Right? So I highly recommend Twitch. It's a lot of fun too. So.
But I recently just I opened a professional Instagram as well, because like
I saw that. The official?
My official Instagram, just because like it was part of the whole disorganization thing. I'm really trying to get everything organized, like from my life, from Alexis, and like really just trying to separate everything. So that's why I opened up my official Instagram. Just
that's a good idea, though.
Yeah. Just because, like, a lot of the times, like, when I opened that Instagram, it was because I was part of Noise Complaints. So most of the people that follow me on my personal are cosplayers and, like, in that community. And, like, that's totally fine. But, like, I know for a fact that, like, they were probably getting annoyed, like, with my music stuff, because that's not what they followed me for.
Right.
So I really wanted to, like, separate the two, just because, like, you know, like, I still do cosplay every now and then. I wish I was doing it more often than not, but
I didn't know you cosplay.
Yeah, man.
Wait, so you did that for the dance team, the tap dancing.
And then I was cosplaying before that too, but
okay.
so I was going to cons before I did Noise Complaint, and then that was just a plus for joining the group. But,
wait a minute, let's get a shot of your shirt there. What are you wearing there? So
I'm
let's
Bakugo.
Yo, Bakugo.
Yeah, my favorite.
My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I haven't been keeping up with that series. I wish I had, but I know of that.
Yeah, he's my favorite character. So
awesome. He's very like out there, like outspoken.
It's just like
explosive.
I could probably do an entire podcast just fangirling over Bakugo. So we'll pause.
We'll
right
save
there.
that for another episode. So I also forgot. I think I was gonna do this like at halftime, but going in, this will segue into our K-pop discussion, and I think we only have like 15 minutes about it. But you have one more question here: goals for the year, live gigs, and more podcasts and YouTube. Do you want to emphasize a little bit more on?
Yeah, sure. So this year, Lorna has actually given me a goal, which is basically try to do a live gig a month. So because I really am trying to bring myself out there within the community now, rather than just being an online persona. And it's one of those things where I really, when it came to my YouTube, I really wasn't planning on having that grow as much as it has. But now that I'm trying to grow it and really trying to get my name out there and get exposure and stuff, I'm starting to want to do more live stuff. So whether that means weddings or contests or something like that, I'm really going to try to do more live gigs this year. And so far, I have gigs booked till May. So so far so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
For your solo?
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome.
LXS. Just LXS. Yeah. And then
post that up. I'll come out and support.
Yeah, for sure. And then like I said, this is really exciting, the podcast thing, and the podcast community was actually something that I thought about going into, just stepping into and guesting this. I don't want to host my own podcast or anything, but that'd be so weird. I feel like it'd be so weird, but
just starting your own Twitch stream.
Yeah, that I gotta take baby steps. Can't rush, Alexis, can't rush. But it was really funny that you had asked me to be a part of the podcast, because I was actually telling Lorna a couple weeks before you had asked me, I was like, what would be really cool is if I actually did a podcast or was guesting on a podcast. So then when you asked, I was like, oh my God, they're
so
back.
Awesome. Again,
they're back.
Again, the universe lining up.
So I was so when you said that, I'm pretty sure I responded to you in all caps or something, or with thousands of exclamation marks, because I was oh my, I was just talking about this. So I
read your response and I saw the excitement through the word. So I was like, this is awesome. We're going to have her on.
Mm-hmm. And then with my YouTube channel, overall, I just want to grow it. So I was saying on that vlog that I was talking about my New Year's resolutions, I really want to get into organizing every aspect of my life. And then in terms of my YouTube channel, I did start consistently, and I'm starting to consistently put content out every Friday and stuff. And it it's actually helped me too mentally, just because I feel I have something to work towards every single week, rather than just no, I don't feel like it, and then not doing something for 3 weeks and then coming out with 4, and then so it feels a lot better too mentally. So I
can relate to that very well, because as a content creator myself, but I think one of the main things as a content creator, whether you're a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, anything, any content, is holding a consistent schedule.
Yeah.
And my roommate always bugs me about that. He's like, hey man, you need a schedule. You need to make a schedule. I'm like, man, I don't need that. I can just, if I feel like doing something, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I'm very spontaneous. And then down the road, I'm just I start to realize man, I really need a schedule. So I highly encourage keeping up with that too. So every Friday you come up with content.
Yes.
So that's something you can plug too, is either on your Facebook page or YouTube page, just be hey, every Friday tune in, and then the fans, or all your fans will be oh, okay, they'll have that embedded in their mind, like,
Exactly.
okay, every Friday Alexis is going to come out with
Yeah.
stuff. So
And,
that's
like,
very important.
Yeah, especially because at first I just wanted it to be a portfolio. So I really didn't care if there was traffic going in and out because I was sending my link to who I wanted to watch my stuff. And then I know that I had mentioned in that same vlog as well is that like I'm a multi-genre artist, which is why it like I feel like it's so difficult for my channel to grow because like some people go to channels, a lot of the times people go to channels for one specific thing, you
Yeah.
know? So like yeah, as LXS of Melting Pop Records, I am an R&B artist and then like a pop singer with a group and stuff. But for my YouTube channel, like I got a degree in musical theater, so of course I'm gonna sing Disney songs and of course I'm gonna sing musical theater songs. But then I'm also like a huge weeb, so like I'm gonna sing like
Yo.
anime themes and like stuff like that. And then I just like I want it to be one of those things where
Sorry,
Yes,
I had to
happy.
pop that.
but like I wanted to, you know, kind of make it so that if somebody came to the channel and was like, yeah, I want to listen to Alexis's pop stuff, but then one day they were like, oh, like I don't really feel like listening to her pop stuff today, and let me listen to her anime themes and let me jam to Unravel and like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, I want it to be one of those places where you can pretty much get all of those things at once, and you know what I mean, like rather
Yeah.
than just sticking to that one and then yeah, so-
One stop,
Yeah.
multi-genre, as
Exactly.
you put it.
yeah,
That is so awesome. And I feel like you can probably do that with Twitch too, because on Twitch
Yeah.
you can like title your stream and it's be like you can be like, oh, I'm a like cosplayers. They'll be like, oh, I'm gonna fix up my cosplay for so and so con.
Right.
That's what the stream's gonna be about. Then you can switch it up and like, oh, we're gonna have a horror night. We're gonna play this scary game and
Right,
stuff like
yeah, that would be
it's
so
very-
fun, yeah.
Yeah. So all sorts of stuff you can play around with Twitch and. Just some ideas that they're out there.
Yeah.
So, go into this bag here. Oh, I got this here. So halfway through, I wanted to give out some presents here.
Presents.
So you've heard of Pocky, right?
Of course.
So this is the Korean version, Pepperol,
Ooh.
and I got boxes for each and every one of you all.
Thank
there.
you
so
so
if you want to give one to Hannah,
much.
Lorna, Andrea.
Oh, Hannah.
There you go. And I also have more goodies here.
Oh my.
Which one do you prefer? Do you want this one or
LOL.
this?
Probably.
So we're just gonna put these on for the show.
Wait, is this the
Which
one where the ears move?
Yes.
I want this one.
Okay, and I guess I'll put this one on here. So,
Yes.
Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
So we're gonna have this on,
Yay.
and then I have some presents for you. So you can actually, I went to KCON NY.
Yeah.
You told me you were gonna go to the KCON, but then when you told me that you actually didn't go, I was like, oh man, well,
Yeah, like, we were really
let me
hoping.
bring KCON to you. So I got
Thank
this tote
you.
bag for you, so you can have
Oh,
this.
thanks.
And it's got some goodies inside. So inside, it's got this. It's got the little headband.
Yeah.
And you can actually turn it on. I don't know if you want to.
No, I like this hat.
Okay. So I'll leave you with that. And then I went to the Korean store last night too, and I was like, you know what? A lot of the K-pop artists do this. They have like these face masks.
Face mask.
Do you
God
use
bless,
these?
I do.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah.
bought you plenty more.
Yeah, one of my vlogs that I'm planning for is actually like my skincare routine because like
Oh, okay.
a lot of people have actually been asking, and it's not a very like in-depth skincare routine. Like
Yeah.
my sister kind of like holds my hand throughout the entire thing, but like you know like I'll tell you guys anyway.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I do is masks. So
Oh, awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so I got you a variety here. The one
you.
I just ask a favor is if you put a little Instagram
I will.
picture of you wearing this.
yes,
So it's
I
like one of
will.
the little kitty ones, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's got like an animal face on it. Just post that on Instagram. It'll be fun.
Yes.
But yeah, you can have this bag. So that's
Thank
our.
you so much.
You're welcome.
You really didn't have to give me a gift.
It's all good. So here you go. But yeah, that's our segue into K-pop. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna discuss it a little bit because I mean, you know, K-pop is not
Yeah.
everyone's cup of tea, you know. So
Yeah.
where do I start with K-pop? So
It's definitely coming up. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely taking everyone by storm. Like not just
like
here.
it's in America, but it's not in America.
Yeah,
you know?
I always
like,
feel like I didn't know because like I liked K-pop since I was like in high school, and then I wasn't very open about it just because nobody really was open
really
to
into,
it.
or
and,
they didn't
like,
understand it.
So like I kind of was just like, it was kind of like liking anime too. Like there's a stigma when you say that you like these things, but like nowadays, like when I didn't even know that Jacksonville had a K-pop community until I took Momo Rogers' dance class, and that's when she's like, "Oh, are you part of the Jacksonville K-pop Minions?" And I was like, "The what?"
Right.
So I joined that group, and then like it was an underground thing. Like it wasn't very open, and now I feel like, you know, all the K-pop songs are starting to come up on the radio too, and like it's so weird.
Does BTS's Boy With Love pop up on the radio?
It
like
does.
American? I could have swore like I was I was in the gate gas station. I was like, is this BTS's song?
Yeah.
Like I was so confused.
Like, oh, mama.
Yeah.
Because I heard it at a gas station too.
Oh, okay. So I was so confused. I was just like, is this what I'm really hearing?
Yeah, no, I heard it at a gas station, and I was
So-
like, oh, mama. And I was like, wait. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm in the
I sat
gas
there.
station.
I sat there too, and I was there with my brother, and I was like, "Is this do you know this song?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, dude, then this song is."
Yeah, it's so funny.
Okay, so I thought I was tripping.
And I remember too
crazy.
because like I brought K-pop into my studio. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, all of my classes, I teach to K-pop music and stuff like that. And then, like, I remember when Mic Drop was starting to play on radio
Oh
as
my
well.
God, Mic
My phone used to get flooded by my students going like, Miss Alexis, they're playing Mic Drop, because like we did a dance to that song too. So
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah. So they were freaking out because they were like, oh my God, K-pop is playing on the radio. So
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, it was great. So
Yeah, I didn't know K-pop would really get into America that way. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like it's still lingering. Like, even
Yeah.
I have a few debacles whenever I come to work, and then
Yeah.
like, because my coworkers they're nosy, but in a good way. So they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I have my own channel for I discuss K-pop." And they're like, "Oh, what you discuss
Yeah.
K-pop?" Blah blah blah. And then like another side of it is like really annoying. Is like
Right.
they'll only hear about K-pop if like something bad happens. So like
Right.
recently, like the few
Yeah.
things, and we won't go into that discussion, but
Right.
like it's so hard to going off of that. It's so hard to drill K-pop into people's heads just because of like what the media. It's like because I come from a different side of K-pop.
Yeah.
Like I used to be a huge fan of BoA, like way
yeah.
back in 2003, and that was my life of K-pop right there, because she did both promos in Korea and Japan. And that's why I was like, yo, BoA's a beast.
right.
And then like
they do
so-
some like closing themes and stuff, like ending themes
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
anime, and then like I was like shook too. Like 2 p.m. did the same thing, and I was like, oh my God, like this 2 p.m. is singing the ending of Blue Exorcist. Like, hello,
Right.
what's going on? So yeah, like I totally get it.
Yeah, and then BoA did the ending for Inuyasha back in the day.
And she did one too for Fairy Tale as well.
Oh yeah, that one. I forgot what song. Was that Fox? Or I forgot which
think
song
it-
that was.
I think it was Masayume Chasing, maybe. Masayume Chasing.
Oh, okay.
I think that's BoA. I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna look
I'll have
like
to
an
go
idiot
back.
if it's not, but
Nah, it's okay.
yeah.
But yeah, from coming up to that, like I kept up with BoA from 2003 all the way to like 2009, and like in 2007 and 8, I was actually in Japan because I went to school at University of North Florida for international business.
Right.
And one of the requirements is to go overseas and study abroad. And so what I did was UNF they didn't have what I wanted. I wanted to study in Japan, so they had like German, China, and like South America, and I was like, I don't want to go to any of those places. I want to go to Japan. They're like, well, you can set up your own program and go to Japan. So I was like, oh, okay, well.
Bet.
So that's what I did, and then while I was there, I actually went to BoA's concerts and stuff.
Oh,
and
that
then
is so cool.
So, long story short, like a couple years after that, BoA was gonna get into the American market, and then that's when I got really excited. But then afterwards, to me, it felt like it wasn't as big as I thought it would be. So like American market for K-pop, it just feels like this steel wall. It's like K-pop's trying to get through this barrier. So what are your thoughts on like K-pop trying to get into America? Like what would you think are like the obstacles, and what do you think are good strategies for K-pop artists to get in, or like K-pop labels to get into America?
I think, in my personal opinion, as long as you are sticking to yourself and you are, being good, like not just like skill wise, but as long as you're being like a good person and you are, letting that show through your music and through your artistry, like people are going to listen. Like that's, at least I know, like that sounds so idealistic and it sounds so like cheesy,
but it's hard to accomplish.
But it is very hard to accomplish, which is why like I think that the reward will be sweeter. Like, you know what I mean? Exactly like Halfway was talking, like it's going to take time and it's going to be hard, but like once you actually get it and once people are listening to you, it's going to be so good. Like
exactly.
And then like that's when you get your genuine fans too, which is why like I really miss BTS's old sound, like, because they're my favorite group was BTS, and this was before they started doing stuff in America. Like, I started I started listening to them like a little after they debuted, so it was like, I was really into them, and I still am. But like, I noticed that their sound is changing because they want to sound more American and sound like what their fans here are
very
listening
American
to.
Influenced.
Yeah, and like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? I just really miss the Korean BTS sound, and
traditional sounds.
Yeah, and like
stuff.
And I totally get it too, as artists and especially as multi-genre artists, like you want to step out and you want to explore and you want to experiment, and like that's the beauty about being a musician and being an artist, is that you take things that you're learning and then you apply them. Like that's also being a good student. You hear that, kids? Okay, so yeah, so like. That's something that I firmly believe, is that if K-pop wants to come into America, like I really hope that they stay K-pop and then come in America.
Yeah,
kind of like
definitely.
They listen to a lot of American music over there. You know what I mean? But when Americans go over there, they don't change their sound. They're literally the American sound, and people still listen to them. So like, that's just like. That's just like my only wishes, and that's what I think will help them succeed, is because they do have fans here. You know what I mean? Just underground.
Very underground.
Very underground. At least here. Over on the other coast, it's completely different. But like here, it's very underground, and like we do have that stigma, and then especially too, like we have very like conservative thoughts here, and like very conservative people as well. So it's hard to convince those kinds of people to be open when it's hard for them to be open. So like I think just showing, and it's like what you were saying too, is that it just seems like the bad things are coming out, you know what I mean? But I think, in all honesty, if they just came here and showed how good they were, like as people too, like people are gonna want to listen, which is why I'm glad that, thank God for Ellen, like, you know what I mean, that she is inviting K-pop groups to go on her show, and because
Ellen,
like
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, and Jimmy Kimmel too, is because then we get to see these K-pop artists, these Korean artists coming from somewhere else, and literally speaking a language that they don't know very well, but still seeing that they're good people too.
And it sparks people's interest too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so like, I mean, that's what I think. Like, all of this is opinions, but yeah.
All right, so we're coming to a close, and I also want to plug some things too. I think we have like maybe a couple more minutes. Gary will pop in and let us know, but some things I did really want to bounce off of what you said is like, there's so much positive in K-pop that people don't know about, and like how you're saying, like when people just see the bad things, I'll come into work and like as soon as I hear something bad on the news, I come to work and then my coworkers are like, oh, so did you hear about so and so? I'm like, of course I did. It's like I dread coming to work just to hear that. I'm like, and I have to. There's no way of changing their mind about things. But a lot of things about K-pop that people don't know is there's a lot more positivity out there.
There is,
and there's a lot more like exposure to the artists of like their real personalities and stuff. Like you can. There's a website called VLive, and it's the way I describe it is like it's Twitch for K-pop artists, and you can go there and get pretty intimate with the artists and stuff, and then get to know them better as like real people rather than just like idols and stuff. But then like as going on like the positivity is as you know, like the culture of Korea, there's a lot of pressure going on, and mostly with like the education system. So another shout out to my a buddy that I watch on YouTube, Pop Sodi, Jason of Pop Sodi. He has a good episode describing like it was the one about how the culture of Korea is so competitive, and that's why K-pop music industry is very competitive, but at the same time it's like a family thing too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more positivity things, and like what you see and what people probably don't know about K-pop is the positivity is like the artists themselves, they'll have these shows, they'll be on shows, but then they'll also come back and deliver for the fans too. And then you see these videos where they'll show up at schools just randomly, and I think that's just like really cool. Like you don't really see that happening in America and stuff. Not to say that it's better in Korea
right.
or anything, but it's just cool like what K-pop artists do, like to show their consideration and like love for their fans and stuff like that.
It's not perfect. The systems aren't perfect. So like, you know, like there are bad things that happen, but it's like everybody knows this. Like it's so much easier to concentrate on the bad things because they rile up those emotions that, you know, get people's hearts going. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily, it's harder to get excited rather than, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, people just don't realize that, yeah, sure, there's bad things that happen. There's bad things that happen here, too.
But you got to cope with it.
But you got to cope and
it's
then move on.
It's when things go your way when you have to worry the most.
Exactly. I'm bringing it full circle.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, Alexis, I think that's all we had for today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so, like, this is so fun.
It was such an honor to have you here and discuss all your endeavors and stuff for today. So, all right, guys and gals, thank you for tuning in to 7R Jax, K1's K-pop sessions as well. And Alexis, yes. Her YouTube channel. So do you want any final shout outs or anything? Or
yeah, I guess so. Shout out to basically everyone I said earlier. But then please follow my very new Instagram. It's lxs.alexis.official. And it's a baby account, so yeah, please follow that, and then
treat it with TLC.
Yeah, and then my YouTube channel too is open to anyone, so it's just LXS Alexis as well. So
awesome. And I'm K1SPO of K1's K-pop sessions. Do tune in to our sessions where we just randomly talk about new content, new K-pop content that comes out, and it could be like old contents too. I still have yet a direction that I want to go, but it's going. So I hope you all enjoy that. As
long as you're moving forward, it's
exactly. And I need a schedule. Really bad at that. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Again, thank you for tuning in to 7R Jax podcast, and we had Alexis of Status Quo, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
And peace.